Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Put the kettle on and make yourself a cup of tea or a coffee if you prefer, and let's talk some boxing. Now, Tyson Fury has given a deadline to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. 3 days, tick tock, the clock is ticking. So I'm guessing of course that is because of Undisputed and the fact that they need to get a site deal in place because the contract was signed and they had a certain amount of time to get the site deal in place. Now we do know that Eddie Hearn is looking around for different places to stage the fight. Now, the interesting thing isn't necessarily what Tyson Fury said. What is more interesting is an interview by John Fury that he done on Boxing Social. I will link that in the description below. It is a very entertaining interview as you would imagine, and he explains that he doesn't believe the fight will happen because there is no money to make this kind of fight. 250 million was what he said continuously throughout the interview. That is what he believes will be the pay package that is put into Tyson Fury's pocket for taking this fight. Now, he says that Saudi Arabia and America, he was talking about that, so could that be like a leak in some way that they are looking at Saudi? I've said that from the very beginning. I do believe it will go Saudi for the first fight and maybe even the second one, but he did also say America. I hope it doesn't go to America because obviously that would make it a different time for when the event starts. So I would rather see it in Saudi just because of that fact. Nothing against the USA or anything like that. I just would prefer it to be primetime UK, given it is two Brits. That is also something that John Fury elaborated on in his interview. He spoke about the fact that we've never had this mega event since 1966, the World Cup, when England won it. He believes that this fight is big enough to compete with something like that. In the past 1,000 years, there's been one thing, and it has been the World Cup in the UK. And he believes that is why Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua should be in the UK. So he says that the British Empire, he said that they should stump up the money to foot the bill for this fight so that it could be in the UK. He said they're wasting millions on other things, and he did specifically talk about football, the fact that football gets a lot of money invested into it, but boxing doesn't. And I have to agree on some level with him about that because boxing wasn't actually included to that budget they put together for grass level sports. Boxing wasn't actually one of those that got funded when it came to that. So when we're talking about Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, it is completely different of course. It is going to generate a lot of money. And Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury can earn a career high payday by taking this fight. So they're going to go to the highest bidder. I mean, the promoters are going to look to go there. Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Bob Arum. John Fury said he's fed up with a lot of them talking about this fight, talking out their ass about how this fight is going to happen, but nothing seems to be getting done. So he is quite displeased and he feels almost let down by those promoters not getting his son the fight. And obviously that does correlate with what Tyson Fury explained on Twitter or Instagram, one or the other. It was a story anyway, and it was TikTok. 3 days left until this fight must be made. Now, also what John Fury said in that interview is that they need to be busy, they need to get a fight, and with this kind of going on, there is the possibility that this fight is moved even further back. We know this because it's happened before, and the worry is for Tyson Fury, the worry is for John Fury, is they do not get their two fights this year. So when it comes down to that, at some point, they might just think, we're just going to move on. We're going to go and fight someone else unless there is a site deal put in place and they find the money to secure that they can have this fight. And that's not going to be in the UK. I mean, Eddie Hearn did previously put Wembley back on the table if they could have 90,000 fans at Wembley, which seems unlikely considering the current situation. I know things are opening up, but it does seem unlikely that they could have 90,000 fans at Wembley in July. Could be possible, and I hope it is, but considering where we are, you would have to believe the fight is going to go abroad, especially because Eddie Hearn is going around looking at different places to secure that site deal. And we did speak in the comments section about this. We spoke about the fact that Eddie Hearn is doing all the groundwork. He is doing a lot of the work going into making this deal happen, to find a site deal, to get that sorted. Bob Arum, Frank Warren don't really seem to be involved with that. Now, that could speak to the fact that they are talking to Saudi Arabia, and that could be where the fight goes because Eddie Hearn has a previous relationship with them after taking Anthony Joshua there for his rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. So that could be the reason, but also it does seem like Eddie Hearn is doing a lot of the work and all he gets for that from Tyson Fury's team is a load of stick. I mean, John Fury said that they are feeding off the build-up. He believes that that is what they are doing, and by the time anything comes to fruition, everyone will be almost fed up with it. No one wants to hear about this anymore, unless the fight is on, unless it is done. And I do kind of echo those thoughts. I do want to see the fight get over the line. We've heard update after update, and TikTok 3 days left, the time is nearly up. We've heard a lot of that. We've heard it's almost there, but it does seem to be almost like they get near the finishing line, then they move the finishing line. I do hope that Eddie Hearn's travels have been successful and he has managed to secure something. Also, I do believe what Tyson Fury's team are doing is pushing them, and you cannot blame them for doing that. This is the reason why. As I said previously earlier in the video, they want their date. They want to fight twice this year. They are putting pressure on the promoters because they want to fight. They want to fight in July. They wanted to fight in June. I mean, even Tyson Fury explained that he wanted to fight in May. He was ready. So they want this fight on. They want to actually fight. So they are putting pressure on their promoters to ensure that that happens. And that is the reason why I believe you see the different approach compared to Anthony Joshua's team and Tyson Fury's team. AJ is being quite positive, his team are being quite positive, Eddie Hearn included. They seem to believe that the fight is definitely going to happen. After signing the contracts, now sorting out a site deal to ensure the fight can actually happen with a date and venue, they are positive as to making this fight. Whereas Tyson Fury and his team have been a little bit more negative, but I believe that is them trying to force through the fight. I mean, they are both working towards making sure the fight actually happens, and Tyson Fury and his team definitely do want the fight, but they are making sure that progress is continuously being made by putting that pressure on Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's team to make sure the fight actually takes place, to ensure that they are working towards a date that will actually happen for Tyson Fury to fight, because that is the most important thing for Tyson Fury, to remain active. Whether it's AJ or someone else, he wanted to be fighting in May, he wants to fight in June, he now wants to fight in July. So just because Tyson Fury, his father and his team seem a little bit skeptical as to whether this fight will take place, it is more like they are trying to force them into making a decision, to force them to make the fight actually happen by almost threatening, this fight ain't gonna happen because we aren't moving forwards. And motivating Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum and Frank Warren to get beyond these hurdles to find a site to stage the fight. And that is what I believe is happening with Tyson Fury and his team. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Tyson Fury says at TikTok, 3 days left. Guys, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.